Welcome to your real estate journey, expert tips for buyers and sellers. I'm Dolly Lopez, a realtor and a broker in the state of Florida and Kentucky. And in this podcast, we provide you with advices to make informed and educated decisions in your real estate journey. Today, it's Thursday, and I'm joined by one of my favorite real estate attorneys. Leslie, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Always happy to chime in to our real estate discussions and helping people navigate, anything they're going through, whether it's buying, selling, refinancing, or deciding what to do with co-owning a property with someone. So,
Exactly. I am so glad to share these segments with you and our followers. And today we're going to be talking about people what do they do when they co-own a property together and they want to set parts. Either that could be with a friend, could be with colleagues, could be with a significant other. So what happened, Leslie, when I co-own a property, I'm on the deed with somebody else, and I don't want to deal with that person anymore for whatever reason? What happens? What can I do? What are my legal rights? What can I do to make sure I get out of that? And I want to get compensated for whatever portion I'm due.
well, that is a very common situation, believe it or not, that I find myself counseling people on all the time. I have a lot of files in the same situation where you bought a property with a friend, with a family member, with a significant other, but you never married to that significant other. Or a business partner, you name it. And then it gets to a point where it doesn't make sense anymore to owning the property with that person and that you want to part ways. And I always tell them that's completely fine. It's within your rights. Nobody can force you to own a property with somebody you don't really have a connection or any projects with or any responsibility to. So it's up to you to decide whether you continue or not. And then the first step I would recommend is reaching out to that people that you own the property with, and then sat down and then just be realistic and say, I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to be an owner together with you. And then it depends on the situation that you are in your life right now, whether you have the condition to purchase this other person's interest
Buy them
into the
out.
property, buy them out, or whether you want to be bought out and then just get the money for another business venture. Just express what you want, what your plans are with your ownership onto that property. And then if they don't react the way you expect them to react, then you need to reach out to an attorney, because an attorney will send them a pre-suit demand letter explaining to them, listen, we are just trying to avoid the cost of litigation. If we go to the courthouse, the judge is going to determine whether the property gets sold at a public auction where the price of the property is going to be significantly less than in an open market, in a negotiated situation with a broker like you, Dolly. So at the end of the day, the court will not, if my client is the person living on the property and the other one is not, and my client wants to buy the other one out, the court is going to grant that, because one of the owners is actually taking advantage of ownership and wants to keep the property. So the court will not force my client or the other person to sell just because the other doesn't want the property to continue to be into that named person. No, the fact that you want to leave the property doesn't necessarily mean that you get to decide whether the property is sold or not. So that's what I always tell people. Appreciate the pre-litigation stage, get to these other people that you own the property with, and then sat down, or use me, because I've done this multiple times, and I have this conversation with the other co-owners, and I have been realistic to them. Listen, either you buy my client out, either my client buy you out, or the property is sold. Those are the only three choices we have, right? Unless for some reason, which has happened to me too, but it's less frequent, and I would counsel against it, is that they have kids together. They were never married, but they both agree to quit claim the property to the children. Now, I would not yes, I would not counsel that this is a good idea if they're minor children. If they are adult children and they both are in agreement to deed the property to their children, by all means, that's a great solution. And it's very smooth, and it's, it's a simple quicklime deed. We change the title, we register in the courthouse, and then that's it. Everybody moves on. But if that is not the case, then you need to understand the court is going to force you to do something, and it's going to cost you money for the court to make a decision that is going to be the same decision I'm proposing to you now before going to court. And then, like 99% of the time, we have been able to, make these other co-owners say, all right, I agree to A, or I agree to B, or, let's do it this way. And then we make it happen. And then at the end, our client also got a solution on, breaking apart from that relationship in real estate they have with these other people. So,
Got it. And a lot of people don't take advantage of, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are a few people that won't take advantage and they just want to go to battle. Sometimes it's just
I
better
agree.
to make a decision between you two before you get attorneys involved. And then if you already have attorneys involved, just don't go to litigation like until like court, because ultimately, I mean, they're gonna be
It's
the
going
same.
to drain. The money is going to go down the drain, and the expenses are going to go higher and higher. And then at the end, everybody gets hurt because the value of the property decreases. Or not the value of the property, but at least the equity that you have on the property goes significantly, goes down and down as your expenses grow.
Exactly. Exactly. So, what happened, Leslie? So, let's say that they are married. There's a couple that's married and they want to set parts. And I know they would have to go through a divorce, right? But what would you recommend to people that are in this situation where they co own a property together, but they are married
But,
and
well, we have a couple situations here. If you're legally married, and we have explained in the past what legally married means, it's having a certificate of marriage from a courthouse in your location or your place of residence, right? Or anywhere in the world, if you were married by an, a government institution, that will be recognized as well in the United States. So, and if the property is titled into both names, you will need to, notify your attorney in the divorce case that that is an asset that needs to be put into the distribution of assets of the divorce. Now, if your name is not on title, you still get to add that asset into the distribution and request the court to recognize your ownership into that property, even though your name was not on title. Why? Well, because a marriage is considered a unity, right? So everything that was purchased within a marriage will be considered to belong to each person within that marriage as one. And at the time of separation, the court will distribute the asset equally. And not 50-50, it's, in equity, which is a term that gets confused, by people. It will not be 50-50. It depends, because if there are minor children, if there are, if the person cannot work anymore, there's a lot of things. Family law, it's big, and there are a lot of nuances, and there are a lot of little things that you need to consider whether or not these assets, particular real estate property, would get to be, deed to one person as opposed to the other, or will get sold and then, the proceeds divided. It depends on a lot. So I would tell people, get you a really good family divorce attorney, sit down and explain your situations, and then get a plan in place so that all of your rights are protected during that divorce. Whether or not your name is on that title, you have rights. Let's say the property was purchased before you were married to that person, it does not matter, because the property gained value during your marriage, so you are entitled to that difference that you brought into the table for that property. Whether you put a penny or not, it doesn't matter. You had a role in the marriage, and you should be, ratified for it. So,
so I'm glad we mentioned this because there's a lot of people that they really don't know. Now, so let's say that there is a business partner. they want to set parts, and ultimately they want they don't want to buy the property, but they don't want the other person to keep the property either. So one person wants to keep it and the other wants to sell it. So first, why would it matter if you're going to get paid anyways? But I have found people like that. I have
Yeah.
found people that they're
I will
stubborn.
tell you, the
So
court
what
is not gonna, if there's one person that wants to keep it and it's financially able to keep it, such as qualifying for a mortgage, refinancing the property, or paying out this other property out of pocket because it has cash enough to, buy out the other person ownership interest, the court will allow that to happen, as opposed to selling the property and having them both figure out their life, because the court will try to be fair with the one that has the ability to do it and is already in possession with the property. So the court always tries to balance the situations as to, in this case, what would it be fair for each owner? Because if you don't want to keep the property and if you're not in possession of the property, why would it matter to you that the other one gets to keep it? That's not fair. So the court will, most of the time, the court would allow this person to actually buy the other one out because he's in the position to do it, and it's
Yep.
going to make things easier in the long run for the courthouse.
I completely agree with that. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you once again for sharing these segments with our followers and with me. I learned a lot, and I'm pretty sure everyone that's watching this have learned as well. We hope that you have enjoyed our conversation. Remember, we're here to help you and assist you in anything that you might need. As far as in the legal side, you got the VPPs for it. Leslie, it's awesome, outstanding. She'll be able to help. And if there's a law covers a whole lot. So there is a section of the law that they don't cover. They definitely have colleagues that they can refer you to. So just call their office. And if there's any real estate needs that I can help with in the state of Florida and Kentucky, I'm here to help. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikToks, so you won't miss any episodes. Thank you for tuning in to your real estate journey, expert tips for buyers and sellers. And I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.